Welcome to the Motivational Library, where inspiration awaits. Step inside an ancient yet futuristic realm of knowledge. Golden dust dances in the air, illuminated by warm sunlight. Books levitate, releasing radiant streams of light and hope. Focus on a golden book, resting on a marble pedestal. Its pages flutter, bursting with brilliant light and swirling letters. The title emerges, The Motivational Library, bold and bright. Motivational shines in radiant gold, library in sleek silver. Feel the cinematic depth and warmth as the light expands. Witness wisdom spreading like a sunrise over the horizon. As the light fills the frame, our tagline appears, where every word awakens power. End with a soft golden flash, revealing our channel logo.
Let's begin. Preface: the war no one sees. There are wars the world never witnesses. Wars fought not in deserts or cities, but in hearts that smile by day and shatter by night. Wars waged in silence, between who we are and who we fear we'll never become. This book was born from that silence. From the sleepless nights when my mind was louder than any battlefield. From the moments when success felt close enough to touch, yet something invisible kept pulling me back into the shadows. I came to learn that the greatest enemies of success are not found outside of us. They live within us. They wear familiar faces, fear, doubt, and comparison, and they whisper lies that sound like truth. They tell us we're not ready, not worthy, not enough. And for years, I believed them. I built walls of perfection around my pain. I wore masks of confidence over my insecurity. I fought to be seen, all while hiding the parts of me that were breaking. But the truth, the liberating, soul-altering truth, is this. The moment you stop fighting yourself, the war ends. The moment you turn inward and face those three enemies, not as monsters, but as mirrors, something extraordinary happens. You don't just change, you rise. This is not a book about achieving more. It's about becoming more. It's about remembering who you were before the world told you who to be. It's about the journey from chaos to clarity, from fear to faith, from self-doubt to self-mastery. Each chapter is a battlefield, yes, but also a bridge. A bridge from the life that confines you to the one that calls you. From the noise of insecurity to the quiet strength of knowing yourself. You will not find empty motivation here. You will find mirrors, reflecting the raw, imperfect, magnificent truth of being human. You will find stories that cut deep and heal deeper. You will find yourself in every page, the part that's still fighting and the part that's ready to surrender. Because this is not just my story, it's ours. We are all warriors in the unseen war, learning to make peace with our fears, to walk through our doubts, to stop measuring our worth against someone else's reflection. And when the dust settles, when the noise fades and you finally look within, you'll see it. The victory was never about the battle. It was always about the becoming. So take a breath, lay down your armor, and step into these pages with your heart open. The war you've been fighting is not the end. It's the beginning of who you were always meant to be. Welcome to the inner war, three enemies that live within. Chapter 1, The Battle Beneath the Skin, Awakening to the War Within. There's a war that no one sees. It doesn't echo through city streets or thunder across borders. It rages quietly, in the mind, in the chest, in the places you whisper your fears to yourself when the lights go out. It's the war between who you are and who you're meant to be. Every morning, millions of people rise from their beds and march to silent battlefields. Boardrooms, classrooms, kitchens, mirrors. They wear smiles like armor, yet their hearts tremble under the weight of invisible wars. They look composed, but inside, they're wrestling with the same ancient enemies: fear, doubt, and comparison. I know this war because I fought it too. The collapse. I still remember the day I realized the greatest battles of life aren't fought outside. They're waged within. It was a Tuesday morning. Rain pressed against the window, heavy and relentless. I sat at my desk staring at a blank page, my mind louder than the storm outside. What if I fail again? What if I'm not good enough? What if this dream was never meant for me? Each question felt like a dagger, twisting deeper into my chest. I had spent years chasing success, applause, validation. And still, something inside me felt hollow. That morning, I understood I wasn't fighting the world. I was fighting myself. It's a terrifying realization to see that the battlefield isn't out there, but right here, behind your ribs, between your thoughts. The hidden war everyone fights. Most people never realize they're in a war. They think they're tired because of work, broken because of relationships, or lost because of life's chaos. But the truth? They're just exhausted from battling their own minds. The first enemy whispers, "You can't." The second murmurs, "You're not enough." The third sneers, "Look at them. They're already ahead." Fear, doubt, comparison. They live inside us like shadows that move when we move, speaking just enough poison to paralyze our potential. They don't destroy you overnight. They erode you. One hesitation, one excuse, one maybe tomorrow at a time. The awakening. The moment everything changed for me wasn't a grand revelation. It was quiet. It was the stillness between two tears when I finally asked myself, what if the war isn't meant to destroy me, but to awaken me? Because maybe life isn't supposed to be peaceful all the time. Maybe the purpose of this inner chaos is to forge something unbreakable, a soul that has met its shadows and chosen light anyway. Every wound, every fear, every doubt, they were never punishments. They were teachers. And when I started listening instead of running, everything shifted. The three enemies revealed. In the pages ahead, we will unmask these enemies, not as villains to fear, but as mirrors reflecting our deepest truths. Fear, the first enemy, disguises itself as protection. It tells you not to leap so you don't fall. But in saving you from pain, it steals your potential. Doubt, the second, disguises itself as logic. It tells you to wait until you're ready. But ready is a myth, and doubt thrives on your hesitation. Comparison, the third, wears the mask of motivation. It makes you chase others' paths while abandoning your own. They're not monsters lurking in the dark. They're fragments of your mind, misunderstood, misplaced, misused. The goal isn't to destroy them. It's to understand them, to learn their language, so you can rewrite their scripts. Because once you name your enemies, they lose their power. And once you master your inner war, no outer war can defeat you. The shift begins. Here's a truth that shook me awake. You can't win a war you don't admit you're fighting. For years, I blamed circumstances, people, timing, luck. But the moment I took responsibility for my inner world, my outer world began to bend in response. Your mindset is the architect of your destiny. Your thoughts are soldiers. They either defend your dreams or destroy them. The most powerful thing you can ever do is become aware. Awareness doesn't fix everything, but it's the moment the fog begins to lift. So let's begin, you and I, not as teacher and student, but as fellow warriors. You'll meet your fears, doubts, and comparisons face to face in the coming chapters. And you'll see, the enemies you fear most are often the ones that build your wings. Key takeaways. 1. The greatest battles of your life are fought within, not in the world, but in your mind. 2. Fear, doubt, and comparison are not external enemies. They live inside you, disguised as protection. 3. Awareness is the first step to transformation. You can't win a war you don't acknowledge. 4. Every struggle holds a message. Every wound carries wisdom. 5. The inner war isn't meant to destroy you. It's meant to awaken your strength. Reflection exercise. 1. Sit in silence for 5 minutes today. Ask yourself, what am I truly fighting inside me right now? 2. Write down your top 3 recurring thoughts that drain your energy or confidence. Next to each one, write, this is not who I am. This is what I'm learning to overcome. 3. End with this affirmation. I am no longer at war with myself. I am learning to fight for me, not against me. Chapter 2. The first enemy. Fear, the silent thief of destiny. It begins quietly. Fear doesn't announce itself with thunder or fire. It creeps in like fog, slow, silent, invisible at first. It touches your thoughts, then your breath, then your dreams. Before you realize it, it has wrapped its fingers around your soul and whispered, stay where you are. Don't move. It's safer here. That's how dreams die, not with failure, but with hesitation. The day I froze. I still remember standing at the edge of a stage years ago, my palms slick with sweat, my heart pounding like a trapped animal. The hall was filled with faces, some eager, some indifferent, all waiting. I had spent months preparing that talk. I knew every word. Yet, when the spotlight hit, my throat tightened, my voice vanished, and all I could hear was the echo of fear. You're not ready. You'll mess this up. You'll embarrass yourself. That moment lasted only a few seconds, but inside, it felt like eternity. I forced out a few sentences, stumbled through them, and left the stage with a smile that hid my shame. On the surface, I had spoken, but inside, something sacred had been stolen from me, my courage. Later that night, as I sat in my car staring at my reflection in the windshield, I realized, fear doesn't always stop your body. Sometimes, it just stops your spirit. Fear's true nature. Fear wears many masks. Sometimes it looks like procrastination, sometimes perfectionism, sometimes politeness. But at its core, fear is the mind's desperate attempt to protect you from pain. It's the ancient guardian that whispers, "Don't take that risk. You might fail. Don't speak your truth. They might reject you. Don't chase that dream. You might lose what you have." Fear isn't evil, it's primal. It was born to keep you alive in a world of predators and storms. But over time, we began to mistake survival for safety and safety for success. The danger is that fear's voice sounds reasonable. It pretends to care. It doesn't scream, it negotiates. It says, "You can try later. Wait for the right time. Be realistic." And while it speaks in kindness, it steals in silence. Fear doesn't destroy your life in one moment. It slowly convinces you to live smaller. The invisible chains. Think of all the dreams that never began because someone said, "What if it doesn't work?" Think of the relationships that never deepened because someone thought, "What if I get hurt?" Think of the talents buried beneath years of hesitation because someone whispered, "What will people think?" Fear's greatest victory is not when you fail, it's when you don't even try. There's a story about an elephant that was tied to a small wooden stake as a baby. It tried to break free for days, but couldn't. Years later, as a full-grown giant, it could have snapped the rope with ease, but it never did. It didn't try. Why? Because the elephant no longer believed it could. That's what fear does. It trains you to believe you are still small. The fear of what might be. One of the cruelest tricks of fear is that it rarely attacks the present. It feeds on the future, on possibilities that haven't even happened. You don't fear falling. You fear what happens if you fall. You don't fear speaking. You fear what people might think. You don't fear failure. You fear what it will say about you. Fear builds illusions and sells them as reality. It convinces you that the pain of failure will be unbearable, forgetting that you've survived every storm so far. The truth is, the pain of regret is always heavier than the pain of risk. The turning point. There came a moment in my life when I was tired of being careful, tired of choosing comfort over calling, tired of wondering who I could have been if I had just dared. One evening, I stood again on that same stage where I had once failed. But this time, I walked up not as someone trying to erase fear, but as someone willing to walk with it. My hands still trembled. My heart still raced. But I told myself, fear can ride with me, but it doesn't get to drive. And something miraculous happened. The trembling didn't vanish, but it transformed. My fear became focus. My shaking became energy. The same adrenaline that once paralyzed me now pushed me into presence. I realized then, courage isn't the absence of fear, it's mastery over its movement. The science of fear. Psychologists tell us that fear lives in the amygdala, the part of the brain that triggers the fight or flight response. But in modern life, we rarely face lions or cliffs. Instead, the threats are emotional, criticism, rejection, failure. Your body reacts the same way to an audience as it would to a predator. The difference is that now, running away doesn't save you. It sabotages you. To reprogram this instinct, you must retrain your brain to see discomfort as growth, not danger. Every time you face fear and move anyway, your brain learns that the world won't end. And that's how confidence is built, not by waiting for fear to vanish, but by proving it wrong. The illusion of safety. Fear will often disguise itself as logic. It says, stay in this job, it's secure. Don't start that project, you have bills. Don't say you love them, it might end. But safety is not the same as peace. Security without growth is a gilded cage. The most dangerous place you can live is in the middle, where you're not unhappy enough to change, but not fulfilled enough to thrive. Fear thrives in the middle. It keeps you half alive, half awake, half committed. But destiny only responds to those who go all in. The anatomy of courage. People often think courage is something you're born with. It isn't. Courage is a decision you make in the dark before the light arrives. It's standing on the edge of a cliff and whispering, "Even if I fall, I'll fly on the way down." Courage doesn't erase fear. It makes fear irrelevant. It's a muscle that grows stronger every time you choose movement over paralysis, expression over silence, truth over comfort. The story of the mountain. A young man once asked a wise teacher, "How do I overcome fear?" The teacher pointed to a mountain and said, "Climb it." The young man looked at the mountain. Tall, cold, cruel. "What if I fall?" he asked. The teacher smiled. "Then you'll learn to climb again." The man frowned. "But what if I never reach the top?" "Then you'll learn how strong you were meant to become," the teacher replied. The young man finally asked, "And what if there's nothing at the top?" The teacher placed a hand on his shoulder. "Then you'll realize the climb itself was your becoming." Fear is the mountain, and climbing it is the way we meet ourselves. The rebellion against fear. There will come a moment when you realize fear isn't just an emotion, it's a choice. You can choose to serve it, or you can choose to outgrow it. You rebel against fear every time you speak your truth, every time you take a step despite the shaking, every time you decide your dream deserves more loyalty than your doubt. When you stop waiting to be unafraid, you start becoming unstoppable. The strongest souls aren't fearless, they're free. Key takeaways. 1. Fear is not your enemy. It's your oldest protector, disguised as doubt and hesitation. 2. Fear doesn't destroy dreams through failure. It does it through delay. 3. Courage is not the absence of fear, but the decision to move despite it. 4. Every act of bravery rewires your brain and weakens fear's control. 5. True peace isn't found in safety. It's found in growth. Reflection exercise. 1. Identify your fear. Write down 3 areas in your life where fear holds you back. Be brutally honest. What are you avoiding and why? 2. Name the cost. For each fear, ask yourself, what has this fear already cost me? 3. Take one bold step. Choose one small action that directly challenges one fear today. It could be sending the message, making the call, or speaking the truth. 4. Affirmation. Fear is not my enemy. It is a signal that I am on the edge of growth. I move forward anyway. Chapter 3. The Second Enemy. Doubt, the invisible prison keeper. There is a voice that doesn't shout. It speaks softly, like wind through an empty corridor. You hear it in the pauses between dreams, in the moments just before you act. It says, "Are you sure?" And that single question has chained more souls than failure ever could. Doubt is the quiet warden of a beautiful prison, a cage made not of iron, but of hesitation. Its bars are built from what-ifs, and its locks are forged in the fires of uncertainty. You don't even realize you're trapped, because the prison is invisible, and the guard looks just like you. The first crack in confidence. It began, for me, during a season of rebuilding. I had just overcome fear, at least I thought I had. I had spoken again, created again, dared again. But doubt doesn't strike when you're afraid. It waits until you've found your courage, then asks if your courage is real. I remember sending my first manuscript to a publisher. It felt like handing over a piece of my soul. For days, I imagined them reading it, loving it, calling me with excitement. But when the email finally came, it was 3 lines long. "We appreciate your submission. Unfortunately, it's not the right fit at this time." Just like that, 1,000 questions erupted in my head. Maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe it was luck that people liked my last piece. Maybe this was all a mistake. That night, I sat staring at the rejection email until the screen blurred. It wasn't the rejection that broke me, it was what it activated. Doubt doesn't need facts to survive. It feeds on feelings. The voice that pretends to protect. At first, doubt sounds rational. It says, slow down. Think twice. Don't rush. It wraps itself in logic, pretending to protect you from disappointment. But if you listen long enough, you realize it never tells you to leap. It only ever tells you to wait. And waiting is doubt's weapon of choice. Doubt is not indecision, it's delayed destiny. It convinces you that more preparation, more time, more evidence will make you ready. But readiness is not something you wait for. It's something you create by moving forward. You don't become confident by thinking, you become confident by doing. The psychology of the prison. Psychologists call it the imposter phenomenon. You accomplish something great, yet instead of celebrating, you question whether you deserve it. You explain away your success as luck, timing, or kindness from others. Doubt thrives in this mental gap, the space between your potential and your perception. It builds walls of hesitation, whispering, "Don't let them see you fail." So you hide your ideas. You shrink your brilliance. You dim your fire just enough to look humble. But humility is not shrinking. True humility is knowing your worth without needing to prove it. Doubt disguises itself as modesty, but in truth, it is self-sabotage wearing a smile. The mirror of self-trust. Every act of creation, every dream, every risk, they all begin with a simple question. Can I trust myself? When you trust yourself, the world expands. When you doubt yourself, it shrinks. Doubt builds mirrors that distort reflection. It makes your flaws look bigger, your progress look smaller. You forget that growth isn't linear, that mastery takes years, and that even the greats once trembled at their beginnings. Do you think Michelangelo didn't doubt his marble would break? Do you think Nelson Mandela didn't doubt his voice in the silence of his cell? Do you think every author, artist, or leader didn't once ask, "Who am I to do this?" The difference between those who transcend doubt and those who are consumed by it is simple. The first group moves anyway. They act with trembling hands, uncertain hearts, and imperfect plans. And through motion, they find momentum. When the prison door is open, there's a story about a bird raised in a cage. When the door was opened, the bird didn't fly away. It stayed inside, because freedom felt foreign. That's how doubt works. It convinces you that safety lies in limitation. Even when opportunity opens before you, you hesitate to step out. You wait for someone to give you permission to be great. But no one is coming to unlock that door. The key has been in your hand all along. You were never unworthy. You were simply uncertain. The anatomy of doubt. Doubt often begins with a small wound, a failure, a criticism, a forgotten dream. Someone once told you you weren't enough. You believed them. Over time, those words became walls, and those walls became your world. But remember this, beliefs are learned, and anything learned can be unlearned. Doubt is not a life sentence. It's a learned response to pain. And healing begins when you start telling yourself a new story. The turning point. After that rejection, I didn't write for weeks. Every time I opened my notebook, doubt spoke louder than inspiration. Until one night, I came across a quote scribbled on a scrap of paper from years earlier. A voice that doubts is a voice that remembers pain. I stared at those words until something shifted. I realized that my doubt wasn't trying to destroy me. It was trying to protect me from being hurt again. So I did something different that night. I didn't fight my doubt. I thanked it. "Thank you for trying to keep me safe," I whispered, "but I'm ready to live again." And as strange as it sounds, the weight began to lift. Because when you acknowledge doubt without obeying it, you reclaim your power. The lesson of the bridge. Imagine you are standing on one side of a bridge. On the other side lies everything you want. Purpose, freedom, success. Between you and that life is a long, narrow bridge made of wood and wind. Doubt will tell you it's too dangerous to cross. It will remind you of every time you slipped before. It will say, "Stay here, at least here you know what to expect." But here's the truth. Safety is an illusion. The bridge may shake, your legs may tremble, but every step forward strengthens it. The bridge doesn't get stronger before you cross. It gets stronger because you cross. Rebuilding trust. To defeat doubt, you must rebuild a relationship with yourself. Keep the promises you make, even the small ones. Show up when you say you will. Finish what you start. Each time you follow through, you send a signal to your mind. I can trust me. And the more you trust yourself, the quieter doubt becomes. Confidence isn't arrogance, it's evidence. Evidence built one action at a time. Doubt's final trick. Just when you start growing, doubt will whisper again, "You're getting ahead of yourself." When you win, it will say, "You just got lucky." When you help others, it will murmur, "Who are you to teach?" The goal is not to silence that voice forever. It may never disappear. The goal is to learn to recognize it, smile, and move anyway. You are not your doubt. You are the awareness listening beneath it. Key takeaways. 1. Doubt is the invisible prison keeper that thrives on hesitation and uncertainty. 2. It often disguises itself as logic, humility, or protection. 3. The cure for doubt is not more certainty, it's more action. 4. Trust is built through consistency. Confidence is built through evidence. 5. The voice of doubt may never vanish, but you can learn to walk beyond its walls. Reflection exercise. 1. Identify the lies. Write down 3 sentences your doubt tells you most often, e.g., I'm not ready. Others are better than me. I always fail. 2. Rewrite the truth. For each lie, write a truth that empowers you, e.g., I am learning and growing every day. My path is unique. Every failure strengthens me. 3. Act through uncertainty. Choose one small action this week that challenges your doubt directly. Do it even if you don't feel ready. 4. Affirmation. Doubt may question me, but I decide my truth. I no longer wait for permission to become who I was meant to be. Chapter 4. The third enemy. Comparison, the shadow of the mirror. There is a thief more cunning than fear and more persistent than doubt. It doesn't steal your money or your time. It steals your peace. It doesn't whisper warnings or raise alarms. It simply shows you someone else's life and asks, why not you? Comparison is the shadow of the mirror. It appears every time you look at the reflection of another and mistake it for the measure of your own worth. It is the quiet corrosion of self-belief, a slow poisoning of joy. And in an age where every screen shows you someone else's highlight reel, it's easier than ever to forget the miracle of your own unfolding. The mirror that lied. It was late at night when I found myself scrolling through social media, a habit I swore I'd quit. Photo after photo, success after success. People I knew, traveling, achieving, glowing. Each post whispered a silent accusation. You're behind. It didn't matter that I had goals, that I was building something meaningful. In that moment, none of it felt enough. I wasn't measuring my progress anymore. I was measuring my proximity to other people's finish lines. And in that comparison, my gratitude disappeared. Comparison doesn't make you see others clearly. It makes you forget who you are entirely. The subtle trap. Comparison begins innocently. It starts as admiration. You see someone's strength and feel inspired. But when admiration is mixed with insecurity, it becomes envy. You don't just want what they have. You start believing that if they have it, you can't. You see their success and assume it's your failure. You see their speed and assume it means your stillness is laziness. You see their beauty, talent, or confidence, and somewhere deep inside, a small voice mutters, you are less. But that's the lie. Comparison tricks you into forgetting that life is not a race. It's a symphony. And no instrument sounds beautiful trying to imitate another. The psychology of the shadow. Why do we compare? Because the human mind is wired to seek belonging. Thousands of years ago, our ancestors needed the tribe to survive. To be different meant danger. To be left behind meant death. So even now, in our modern lives, our brain measures constantly. Am I fitting in? Am I enough? Am I safe? But the world has changed. Safety no longer depends on sameness. It depends on authenticity. Comparison is the outdated software of survival. It still runs, but it no longer serves us. The illusion of enough. Comparison always moves the finish line. When you reach the milestone you once envied, it immediately shifts your gaze to someone further ahead. The more you chase, the further away enough becomes. You lose the ability to celebrate, not just others, but yourself. You could be standing in the middle of the dream you once prayed for and still feel empty, simply because someone else's dream looks shinier. But here's the truth. Comparison is not a reflection of their greatness. It's a reflection of your blindness to your own. The moment of clarity. One morning, after months of chasing metrics, validation, and invisible standards, I found myself sitting in silence, exhausted. I asked myself a question I had avoided for years. When did I stop being grateful for my own story? The answer came like a whisper. When you started living in someone else's. I realized that I had built an altar to other people's journeys while neglecting my own sacred ground. I was measuring my purpose with someone else's ruler. And rulers lie, because they're built for other dimensions. The cost of the mirror. Comparison doesn't just wound your confidence, it dilutes your authenticity. It makes you trade your unique rhythm for imitation. It replaces creativity with competition. And worst of all, it makes you perform instead of live. You start asking, what will they think, instead of what feels true. You start chasing applause instead of meaning. And somewhere along the way, the person you were meant to be, the one the world truly needs, gets buried under the noise of approval. The turning point. I remember one day standing before a mirror, not the kind that reflects your face, but the one that reflects your soul. I looked into my own eyes and said aloud, "You are not behind. You are becoming." It was such a simple sentence, but it shattered something inside me. Because growth isn't a race, it's a rhythm. Flowers don't bloom all at once, yet each one brightens the garden when it's ready. Your timeline isn't late. It's personal. Your story isn't less valuable. It's just unfolding at its own divine pace. That day, I promised myself, no more mirrors that lie. No more measuring my worth by someone else's reflection. The power of focus. There's a universal truth. Where your attention goes, your energy flows. If you focus on what you lack, you'll always live in scarcity. If you focus on what you have, abundance grows like light in the dark. When you compare, you pour your energy into someone else's garden, then wonder why yours doesn't bloom. The antidote to comparison is creation. The moment you focus on building your path, the noise of others fades. You stop scrolling through their lives because you're too busy living your own. The story of the two painters. There once were two painters in a small village. Both had dreams of painting the sky. The first painter spent his days studying others' art. He would visit galleries, analyze every brushstroke, and say, "One day, I'll paint something that beautiful." But he never did. The second painter rarely looked at anyone's work. He simply stepped outside every morning and painted the sky as he saw it. New, imperfect, real. Years later, his paintings filled the world with wonder, not because they were flawless, but because they were true. The moral is simple. The sky doesn't need two versions of the same sunrise. It needs your perspective, the one only you can paint. The freedom of self-acceptance. When you finally stop comparing, something miraculous happens. Peace returns. You start waking up with gratitude instead of guilt. You start celebrating others without feeling smaller. You start creating not to compete, but to express. You begin to understand that someone else's success is not your failure. It's proof of what's possible. Comparison chains you to scarcity. Authenticity sets you free. The new mirror. From that day forward, I built a new kind of mirror. One that doesn't reflect appearance or achievement, but alignment. Every morning, I ask myself one question. Am I living in truth today? If the answer is yes, I've already succeeded. Because success is not how far you've gone. It's how true you've been to your purpose while getting there. Key takeaways. 1. Comparison is the shadow of the mirror. It distorts your reflection and blinds you to your own growth. 2. Admiration becomes envy when it's mixed with insecurity. 3. Life is not a race, but a rhythm. Your timing is sacred, your journey unique. 4. The antidote to comparison is creation and gratitude. 5. You find peace not by being ahead of others, but by being aligned with yourself. Reflection exercise. 1. Identify your triggers. Write down 3 situations or people that often trigger comparison in you. Ask yourself why, what insecurity or unmet desire hides underneath. 2. Reframe the story. For each trigger, write 1 sentence of truth. Their success is proof that this dream is possible for me, too. 3. Shift to creation. Instead of scrolling or comparing, dedicate 1 hour this week to creating, writing, learning, building, expressing. Replace envy with energy. 4. Affirmation. I release the illusion of comparison. My path is mine, my timing divine, and my reflection enough. Chapter 5. The Voice That Lies. Escaping the Tyranny of the Inner Critic. There is a voice inside you, one you never invited, yet it never leaves. It speaks not with love, but with authority, not with truth, but with familiarity. It knows your fears, your failures, your quiet insecurities, and it uses them as weapons. That voice is the inner critic. It doesn't scream, it whispers just loud enough to sound like reason. It doesn't show up when you're defeated, it shows up right before you rise. And it doesn't hate you, it fears your power. Because if you ever believed in your worth, its reign would end. The whisper in the dark. I remember the night I almost gave up. The book I had poured my soul into had been rejected by yet another publisher. I sat in my room, lights dim, laptop screen glowing like a cruel reminder of my failure. And that's when it spoke. Maybe you're not good enough. Maybe this was never meant for you. Who do you think you are to inspire anyone? The voice didn't sound foreign, it sounded like me. That's the trick of the inner critic. It wears your tone, borrows your memories, and speaks through your wounds. I believed it for a long time. Because it didn't feel like a lie, it felt like logic. The anatomy of the inner critic. The inner critic is not born, it's built. Every harsh word you've heard, every rejection you've faced, every comparison that left a scar, layer by layer, they form this voice. It's the echo of your past trying to control your future. When a parent said, "You can do better," it learned perfectionism. When a teacher said, "You'll never amount to much," it learned limitation. When you failed and felt shame, it learned fear. Now, it hides behind realism and standards, convincing you it's protecting you from pain. But in truth, it's imprisoning you from growth. The tyranny of self-talk. The most dangerous war isn't fought outside. It's fought in your own head. You could have every opportunity, every talent, every door open before you. But if your mind whispers, "You're not ready," you'll never step through. You could receive love, yet if your inner voice says you don't deserve it, you'll push it away. You could stand in front of a mirror, yet see only flaws. The inner critic doesn't need bars to build a prison. It uses your beliefs. The lie of perfection. One day, I was mentoring a young creator who said, "I just want to get it perfect before I release it." I smiled, because I knew that voice well. Perfection is the critic's favorite disguise. It convinces you to polish endlessly, to prepare eternally, and in doing so, you never begin. The truth is, perfection isn't the pursuit of excellence. It's the fear of judgment dressed as discipline. The critic says, "You're not ready." But life says, "You become ready by starting." The moment of revolt. There came a morning when I had enough. I stood before the mirror, the same mirror where I'd once measured my worth, and said aloud, "I hear you, but you are not me." For the first time, I separated the voice from the self. I realized that the inner critic isn't your enemy. It's your unhealed guardian. It tries to keep you safe by keeping you small. It learned long ago that taking risks leads to pain, so it tells you to hide. But safety and fulfillment rarely live in the same place. The moment you see the critic as a voice, not a verdict, you reclaim your power. The mirror test. Here's a truth few accept. You will never silence the inner critic completely, but you can strip it of its authority. The next time it speaks, don't argue. Observe. When it says, "You'll fail," respond with curiosity. Is that truth or fear? When it says, "You're not enough," ask, according to whose standard? When it says, "You always mess things up," remind it, that was a moment, not my identity. The critic feeds on your obedience. But when you start questioning it, it weakens because it cannot survive awareness. The shadow of compassion. Healing begins when you stop hating the voice and start understanding it. Imagine it not as a villain, but as a frightened child within you. One who learned that love must be earned, that mistakes mean punishment, that vulnerability equals danger. Would you shout at that child? Or would you comfort it? Self-compassion is not weakness. It's rebellion against the tyranny of self-judgment. When you speak kindly to yourself, the critic loses its power because it thrives on your self-contempt. The warrior's mind. To rise above the inner critic, you must build a new inner language, one that replaces self-attack with self-affirmation. Not fake positivity, but grounded truth. Instead of "I'm not ready," say, "I'm learning, and that's enough." Instead of "I always fail," say, "I've fallen before, and I rose every time." Instead of "I'm not as good as them," say, "I'm becoming my best self, and that's all I need to be." This isn't arrogance. It's alignment. The critic tells you to shrink. The warrior tells you to stand tall. Every time you choose belief over brutality, you strengthen the muscle of confidence. The phoenix within. The critic's voice may never vanish, but it will evolve. One day, you'll hear it and smile, not because it controls you, but because it reminds you how far you've come. The same voice that once said, "You can't," will now echo faintly as you whisper back, "Watch me." That's when the transformation is complete, not when the critic disappears, but when you stop obeying it. The story of the sculptor. There once was a sculptor who carved a statue so beautiful that people came from miles away to see it. One day, a young apprentice asked, "Master, how did you create something so perfect?" The sculptor smiled and said, "I didn't create it. The statue was already inside the stone. I just chipped away everything that wasn't it." That is the essence of self-growth. You are not becoming someone new. You are removing everything that isn't you. Fear, doubt, comparison, and the critic's lies. What remains is truth, and truth doesn't need to shout. Key takeaways. 1. The inner critic is not your truth. It's the echo of your past fears and conditioning. 2. It disguises itself as logic, but its goal is protection through limitation. 3. You cannot silence it completely, but you can disarm it through awareness and compassion. 4. Perfectionism is one of its strongest disguises. Progress is the true rebellion. 5. Your power grows each time you choose courage over criticism. Reflection exercise. 1. Name the voice. Give your inner critic a name or identity. This helps separate it from your true self. 2. Write the lies. List 3 common phrases it tells you. Then rewrite each one into truth. "Oh, you're not ready. I'm learning as I go. Oh, you're not good enough. I'm growing, and growth takes time." 3. Self-compassion ritual. Stand before a mirror. Place your hand on your heart and say aloud, "I am no longer the voice that hurts me. I am the one who heals." 4. Action step. Choose one area of your life where you've been holding back because of your critic. Take one bold step forward this week, however small. Chapter 6. The Battlefield Within. The war between who you are and who you pretend to be. There comes a moment in every person's life when silence becomes unbearable, not because the world has gone quiet, but because the noise within can no longer be ignored. It's the moment when your smile feels heavy, when your laughter echoes but doesn't land, when the life you show the world starts feeling like a costume that no longer fits. That is the moment when the battlefield within reveals itself. The war between who you truly are and who you've learned to pretend to be. The mask we learn to wear. We are born whole, raw, radiant, unfiltered. Children don't question if they're enough, they simply are. They cry when they're hurt, laugh when they're happy, and dance when the music calls. But somewhere along the way, we learn that authenticity comes with a price. A teacher tells you to behave. A parent says, "Don't be too loud." A friend laughs at your dream. And piece by piece, you start adjusting, trimming the edges of your truth to fit into someone else's comfort. You learn to wear masks. The achiever, the pleaser, the strong one, the quiet one, the one who never fails. Until one day, you forget where the mask ends and you begin. The prison of perfection. For years, I lived behind a mask of composure. I was the one who always had it together, smiling, productive, in control. But behind closed doors, I was unraveling. Every day felt like performing a version of myself that the world had approved, but my soul had outgrown. I wasn't living, I was maintaining an image. The applause of others became my oxygen, and the fear of disapproval, my cage. I told myself, this is what success looks like, but success without authenticity is just polished suffocation. I realized something heartbreaking. I wasn't chasing dreams anymore, I was chasing validation. The two selves. Inside every person lives two selves. The true self, raw, vulnerable, alive, driven by love, creativity, and purpose. The false self, polished, strategic, guarded, driven by fear, approval, and control. The false self is not evil, it's protective. It's the armor you built to survive a world that didn't always welcome your truth. But armor that once protected you can eventually imprison you. The true self whispers, be free. The false self warns, be careful. And between those voices, the war begins. The battlefield within. The war is not visible. It's silent, fought in moments of hesitation and honesty. It's when you say yes, while your soul screams no. It's when you post a photo for approval instead of expression. It's when you suppress your tears because strength has been misdefined as silence. Every compromise of authenticity may win you acceptance, but it costs you integrity. And integrity is the soil where self-worth grows. The more you betray your truth, the less you recognize yourself. The moment of unraveling. I'll never forget the day my mask cracked. I was giving a talk on purpose, inspiring hundreds of people, when suddenly, mid-sentence, my throat tightened. I felt the weight of my own hypocrisy. How could I speak about authenticity when I hadn't been living it fully myself? How could I talk about courage while hiding behind performance? That night, I sat alone in my car, tears streaming down my face, and whispered, "I'm tired of pretending." It wasn't a breakdown. It was a breakthrough. Because sometimes, the moment you finally break is the moment your soul breathes again. The art of unmasking. Unmasking is not about rebellion. It's about return. It's returning to your truth, your essence, your unfiltered voice. But it's not easy. You'll lose people who only love the mask. You'll disappoint those who were comfortable with your silence. You'll face uncertainty without the protection of perfection. But in that rawness, you will find peace. Not the peace that comes from being accepted, but the peace that comes from being authentic. When you stop performing, you start living. The courage to be seen. The world doesn't need another version of someone else. It needs the unedited version of you. The courage to be seen as you are is one of the rarest forms of bravery. It means letting go of the illusion of control and trusting that who you are is already enough. And when you live that way, with honesty, imperfection, and openness, you give others permission to do the same. Your authenticity becomes contagious. Your truth becomes a torch, the phoenix of the self. Every identity built on fear must burn for the soul to rise free. You will lose the versions of you that were built to please, but you will gain the version of you that was born to lead, not others, but yourself. And the moment you meet that self again, it will feel like coming home after years of wandering. Because that's what authenticity truly is. Not becoming someone new, but remembering who you were before the world told you to forget. The story of the warrior and the mirror. There once was a warrior who wore a magnificent suit of armor. It was said that no weapon could pierce it. But with every battle, the armor grew heavier. One day, the warrior looked at his reflection and realized he couldn't see his own face beneath the steel. He feared that if he removed it, he'd be weak. But when he finally did, he felt something he hadn't in years, the warmth of the sun on his skin. He was lighter, freer, human again. The moral: the armor that once saved you can become the weight that sinks you. Sometimes, the greatest act of strength is removing what no longer protects you. Living without the mask. When you live as your true self, you'll still feel fear, but it won't rule you. You'll still feel doubt, but it won't define you. You'll still stumble, but your steps will be honest. You'll stop chasing people who don't see you and start cherishing those who do. You'll stop striving to be impressive and start striving to be real. Because authenticity doesn't make you perfect, it makes you whole. Key takeaways. 1. The battle between authenticity and approval is the deepest war we fight. 2. Masks are born from fear, but every layer you shed brings you closer to freedom. 3. The false self protects, but it also imprisons. 4. The courage to live unfiltered is the foundation of peace. 5. True success isn't being admired by others, it's being at peace with yourself. Reflection exercise. 1. Name your masks. Write down 3 roles or versions of yourself you perform for acceptance, e.g., the perfectionist, the pleaser, the strong one. 2. Ask the why. For each, write why you wear that mask, what fear or need it hides. 3. Choose one truth act. This week, remove one mask in a small but meaningful way. Speak honestly in a conversation, say no when you mean it, or express something real instead of what's expected. 4. Affirmation. I am no longer at war with who I am. I choose truth over performance, peace over perfection, and authenticity over approval. Chapter 7. Breaking the Cycle. How to rewrite the stories that hold you hostage. Every life is a story, a series of moments stitched together by meaning. But what most people never realize is this: we are not just the main characters, we are also the authors. And yet, too many of us live inside stories we didn't write. Stories handed down by fear, by pain, by other people's expectations. Stories that tell us who we are allowed to be and who we are not. They begin innocently. You're too quiet. You'll never be like your brother. People like us don't dream that big. At first, you resist. But over time, the repetition becomes rhythm, and rhythm becomes belief. Until one day, you stop questioning the story altogether and start living it. The prison of old narratives. We don't just remember our past, we relive it every day through the stories we tell ourselves. The child who once felt unseen grows into an adult who overworks for validation. The teenager who was laughed at learns to hide their creativity. The dreamer who failed once convinces themselves that failure is final. These stories become invisible cages, not because they're true, but because they're familiar. You see, the mind would rather stay in a familiar prison than risk the uncertainty of freedom. And that's why so many people stay stuck. Not because they can't change, but because they're loyal to a story that's already over. The moment of realization. I remember sitting in a cafe one rainy evening, reading through my old journals. Page after page, I noticed a pattern. Different years, same emotions. Different struggles, same conclusions. No matter how much I achieved, I kept returning to the same belief. It will never be enough. It wasn't life repeating itself. It was me. I was trapped in a loop, the same script playing under new circumstances. That was the night I understood something that changed everything. You can't create a new future while narrating it with an old voice. The stories we inherit. Some stories aren't even ours. They're inherited from family, culture, society. We carry beliefs that were passed down like heirlooms. Money is evil. Love always ends in pain. Dreams are for the lucky. These aren't facts, they're echoes. But echoes can feel eternal until you trace them back to where they began. Ask yourself, whose voice is this? Because often, the words that limit you were never yours to begin with. The psychology of repetition. From a neurological perspective, your brain loves repetition. It doesn't care if a story is empowering or destructive. It only cares if it's familiar. The more you repeat a thought, the deeper the neural pathway becomes. That's why breaking old patterns feels uncomfortable. Your brain interprets new as unsafe. But transformation begins the moment you recognize that discomfort is not danger, it's rewiring. Each time you choose a new story, you carve a new path through your own mind. And the more you walk it, the stronger it becomes. The turning point. The night I decided to rewrite my story, I did something radical. I wrote down every limiting belief I'd been carrying, every whisper of unworthiness, every inherited doubt. Then I asked one simple question next to each. Is this truth or just memory? One by one, I began crossing them out. I'm not good enough. Crossed out. I always mess things up. Crossed out. I'll never be as successful as them. Crossed out. For every lie, I wrote a new truth. Not wishful thinking, but grounded in tension. I am learning. I am evolving. I am enough. Not when I arrive, but because I exist. That night, I didn't just rewrite words. I rewired my identity. The courage to edit. Rewriting your story isn't about denying the past. It's about reclaiming authorship. It's saying, yes, this happened, but that's not where the story ends. Too many people stay trapped because they confuse their chapter with their conclusion. You are allowed to edit. You are allowed to evolve. You are allowed to outgrow the version of yourself that survival once required. Your story is a living document, and healing begins the moment you pick up the pen again. The myth of final drafts. Some people wait for perfect clarity before they start rewriting, but life isn't a book you finish. It's a manuscript that's constantly being revised. You will make mistakes. You will stumble. You will edit and re-edit 1,000 times. But every sentence of courage replaces a paragraph of fear. Your job isn't to have it all figured out. Your job is to keep writing, even when the ending is uncertain. Because the act of writing is the transformation. The story of the candle maker. There once was a candle maker whose village was plagued by darkness. Every night, the people would curse the shadows, waiting for dawn. But the candle maker said, if darkness exists, then so must the flame. He spent years learning to create light, failing, burning his hands, starting again. Finally, one night, his candle burned bright enough to light his entire home. The villagers gathered, amazed. You've conquered the dark, they said. But the candle maker smiled softly and replied, no, I simply stopped believing the story that darkness was final. Breaking the loop. Cycles don't end by fighting them. They end by understanding them. Awareness breaks repetition. When you see the pattern, you stop being the puppet of your own past. The moment you recognize your story as a choice, not a sentence, the loop loses its power. And from that awareness, a new chapter begins, not written in fear, but in freedom. The rewrite. You don't have to know where the story will go. You just have to decide that the old one no longer defines you. You can be the child who was unloved and still write a story of deep connection. You can be the one who failed and still write a story of resilience. You can be the one who was broken and still write a story of beauty. The story doesn't end where you fell, it begins where you rise. Key takeaways. 1. You are not just the character in your story, you are the author. 2. Many of your limiting beliefs were inherited, not chosen. 3. The brain repeats familiar narratives. Awareness allows you to rewrite them. 4. Healing is not erasing the past, but reclaiming your power to edit its meaning. 5. Every new thought, belief, and action is a line in your next chapter. Reflection exercise. 1. Identify your old story. Write down one repeating belief or emotional loop that has held you hostage, e.g., I'm not enough, I always fail, I can't change. 2. Trace its origin. Ask yourself, where did this belief begin? Whose voice does it sound like? 3. Rewrite the sentence. Replace the old narrative with a new truth that empowers you. Example, I always fail, I always learn. 4. Read it aloud daily. The voice you hear most often becomes the story you live. 5. Affirmation. I am the author of my destiny. The pen is in my hand, and I choose to write freedom. Chapter 8. The Cost of Comfort. How staying safe keeps you small. There's a quiet place where dreams go to die. It's not in failure. It's not in rejection. It's in comfort. Comfort. That warm, familiar space where nothing hurts, but nothing grows. It whispers, you're safe here. Don't risk it. Don't stretch. Don't try. And so, many never do. They settle for predictable days, unshaken routines, and silent dissatisfaction, mistaking comfort for peace, when in truth, it is the most subtle form of captivity. Because comfort doesn't kill suddenly. It seduces you, gently, patiently, until one day, you wake up realizing that safety has cost you your soul. The illusion of safety. Comfort feels like safety, but it's an illusion, a golden cage lined with soft walls. When you were younger, you dreamed with fire. You wanted more impact, more meaning, more life. But somewhere along the way, you learned that more often comes with risk. You took a few chances, and pain followed. So you built walls around your heart and called it wisdom. You stopped speaking up, stopped reaching out, stopped showing your full self. Because comfort taught you that silence is safer than courage. And maybe it is, but it's also smaller. The comfort zone is not a home, it's a waiting room. And many people spend their entire lives waiting for a call that never comes. The gradual shrinking. Growth rarely stops in a single moment. It fades, quietly. It begins when you choose what's easy over what's right. When you stop trying because maybe next year. When you start saying, I'm fine, instead of, I'm meant for more. Every time you trade effort for ease, your world becomes a little smaller. Your edges, once sharp with passion, become smooth, polished, harmless. And the tragedy is, the smaller your world gets, the more comfortable it feels. Until one day, the very thing that feels safe is the same thing that's suffocating you. The price of staying the same. There's a quote I once heard. If you avoid pain long enough, you end up avoiding life itself. Avoiding failure means you'll never feel the thrill of victory. Avoiding heartbreak means you'll never know deep love. Avoiding risk means you'll never discover your potential. The truth is simple, but brutal. You can't protect yourself from life and live fully at the same time. Every comfort you cling to has a cost, and that cost is possibility. The story of the bird. Once, there was a bird who lived in a beautiful golden cage. She was adored, fed, and safe. The air outside was wild and uncertain, but the cage was familiar. One day, her cage door was left open. She looked at the open sky, vast, terrifying, magnificent. She felt her heart pound. Freedom called to her, but she hesitated. What if she couldn't find food? What if she got lost? What if the sky wasn't as kind as her cage? And so she stayed. Years passed. The bird grew old, and the open door rusted shut. The world outside moved on, but she never left. Her comfort became her coffin. And the saddest part? The cage was never locked. The hidden fear beneath comfort. Comfort is not the opposite of fear. It's fear disguised as calm. It's not peace that keeps us from moving. It's the fear of losing control. Fear of being exposed. Fear of starting over. Fear of discovering that maybe, just maybe, we are capable of more than we imagined. Because if that's true, then comfort can no longer be our excuse. The paradox of growth. Growth feels like loss at first. When you step out of the known, you lose the identity you built inside it. That's why breaking free from comfort is so painful. You're not just changing your environment. You're letting go of who you used to be. But here's the paradox. You must first die to the familiar before you can be born to your potential. Every transformation demands a sacrifice, and the first thing it asks for is your comfort. The awakening. There comes a moment, quiet but powerful, when you realize that staying the same hurts more than changing ever could. It's the night you stare at the ceiling, haunted by the question, is this it? It's the morning you look in the mirror and don't recognize the person staring back. It's the day you finally admit that safety is too small for your soul. That's when awakening begins, not with fireworks, but with a decision. I can't keep shrinking just because it's safe. The fire within. When you choose to step beyond comfort, you awaken a force that's been sleeping inside you, the hunger for expansion. It's the same energy that drives seeds to break through soil and rivers to carve through mountains. It's the whisper that says, you were made for more. But remember, the fire within you will burn everything that no longer serves you. It will demand that you trade ease for evolution, certainty for courage, and approval for authenticity. And though the process will be uncomfortable, it will also be liberating, because for the first time, you'll feel alive. The bridge of discomfort. Discomfort is not your enemy. It's your bridge to greatness. Every dream worth living exists on the other side of uncertainty. The only difference between those who rise and those who remain is that the former learn to walk through fear without waiting for permission. The world doesn't reward those who play it safe. It rewards those who dare to walk barefoot across the bridge of discomfort, even when the wind howls and the path shakes beneath them. The rebellion. To reject comfort is a quiet act of rebellion. It's looking at the world, predictable, repetitive, numb, and saying, no, not me, not anymore. It's deciding to be awake in a world that sleeps. To take the harder road, not because it's easy, but because it's yours. Comfort keeps you in line. Courage sets you free. The cost and the reward. When you choose growth over comfort, you'll lose people who prefer the old you. You'll outgrow places, habits, and even identities. You'll face resistance from others and from yourself. But in return, you'll gain something far more valuable, alignment. Alignment between who you are and who you're meant to be. And that alignment is worth every ounce of discomfort, because comfort offers you survival, but courage offers you life. Reflection exercise. 1. Identify your comfort zones. Write down 3 areas of life where you've settled for comfort over growth: career, relationships, habits, mindset. 2. Ask why. What are you afraid would happen if you step beyond that comfort? 3. Take one small step. Choose one discomfort today, a small, deliberate action that stretches you. 4. Journal the experience. Reflect on how it felt. Growth often feels like fear at first, but it's simply expansion. 5. Affirmation. I refuse to trade my potential for safety. I was not born to be comfortable. I was born to be capable. Closing words. There's a moment in every person's life when the weight of comfort becomes unbearable. That's when destiny knocks. If you're reading this, maybe it's knocking for you now. Don't silence it. Don't hide from it. Don't wait for the perfect time. There will never be one. Step forward, trembling if you must, but step forward. Because while comfort may promise you safety, only courage will give you wings. Chapter 9. The Power of Pain. Turning wounds into wisdom. There are 2 kinds of pain in this world: the pain that breaks you, and the pain that builds you. The first one comes to destroy illusions. The second one comes to reveal truth. And though they feel the same when they arrive, burning, heavy, unbearable, their difference lies not in their force, but in how you meet them. Pain is not your punishment. It is your invitation. An invitation to awaken, to transform, to evolve beyond who you were before the fire. The night everything changed. There's a night that lives in everyone's memory, the night everything fell apart. Maybe it was the phone call that shattered your world. Maybe it was the betrayal you never saw coming. Maybe it was the dream that died too soon. For me, it was a quiet evening, the kind that disguises storms. I was sitting in a small, dimly lit room, staring at the ruins of what used to be my certainty. Everything I had built, everything I thought defined me, gone. And for the first time, I had to face the one question that would define the rest of my life. Who am I without what I lost? That question cut deeper than the loss itself. Pain, I realized, doesn't just wound you, it undresses you. It strips away the layers you thought were you, the achievements, the roles, the masks. And when all of that falls away, what remains is raw truth, the unfiltered, unguarded you. It's terrifying, it's sacred, and it's where transformation begins. The alchemy of suffering. When gold is refined, it must first pass through fire. The flame doesn't destroy it, it purifies it. The same is true for you. Pain is the great alchemist of the soul. It takes the lead of your suffering and turns it into the gold of wisdom, if you let it. But most people don't. They run. They distract themselves. They numb the ache. They fill the silence with noise, the emptiness with busyness. But you can't outpace your pain. You can only postpone your healing. The wound you refuse to face becomes the cage you live in. It is only when you turn toward the pain, trembling but willing, that it begins to shift from torment to teacher. The hidden teacher. Every wound carries a message. Failure teaches humility. Loss teaches appreciation. Rejection teaches self-worth. Loneliness teaches connection. But you can't receive the lesson while you're still running from the ache. The pain you feel is not trying to punish you. It's trying to prepare you, to make you ready for what you once prayed for. Because you can't hold greatness with unhealed hands. The mirror of pain. Pain holds a mirror to your soul, not to show you who you were, but who you can become. When you're hurt, the world slows down. Your focus sharpens. Everything unnecessary fades. And for the first time, you see life without filters. Pain humbles you. It makes you human again. You stop judging others because you finally understand what it feels like to bleed. You stop chasing perfection because you realize that cracks are what make the light visible. Pain doesn't change you by force. It changes you by truth. It introduces you to the version of yourself that exists beyond comfort, beyond ego, beyond illusion. The myth of moving on. We often hear the phrase move on. But moving on isn't the goal. Moving through is. Moving on means pretending it didn't hurt. Moving through means facing the storm, walking barefoot through the wreckage, and coming out on the other side stronger, wiser, softer. Healing is not erasing the memory. It's removing its power to control you. It's when you can touch the scar and say, yes, it happened. And yes, I grew. The beauty in the breaking. There's a Japanese art called kintsugi, the art of repairing broken pottery with gold. They don't hide the cracks, they highlight them. Because in those lines of gold lies the story of survival. You are your own piece of kintsugi. Your cracks are not your shame. They are your story. Your scars are not signs of weakness. They are evidence of your rebirth. Broken does not mean destroyed. It means redefined. What if your pain was never meant to destroy you, but to redesign you? The choice. Pain gives you two options. To close your heart, or to open it wider. Most people close it. They armor up. They say, never again. But every time you close your heart, you close off life itself. True strength is not in hardening. It's in staying soft when the world gives you every reason to turn to stone. It's in choosing love over bitterness, hope over cynicism, faith over fear. Because only an open heart can transform pain into wisdom. From wound to weapon, the deepest pain often hides your greatest purpose. Think of the stories that move you most, the healers, the teachers, the leaders who ignite change. Almost all of them were once broken in the same places they now serve from. The addict who helps others find recovery. The orphan who builds schools for the lost. The betrayed lover who teaches forgiveness. Their pain became their power because they didn't stop at suffering. They continued until meaning was born from it. You were never meant to carry your pain forever. You were meant to convert it, to turn wounds into wisdom, heartbreak into healing, loss into legacy. The Phoenix moment. Every soul that rises must first burn. The myth of the Phoenix isn't just fantasy. It's a mirror of the human spirit. You must burn away what no longer serves you. your illusions, your attachments, your old identities. Only then can the ashes form wings. Rebirth is not clean. It's chaotic. It's painful, but it's also breathtaking, because it's the moment you realize that the end was never the end. It was the beginning disguised as disaster. Pain ends where growth begins. The wisdom of the scar. A healed scar no longer bleeds, but it never disappears, and that's its power. It becomes your reminder that you can survive what once tried to end you, that the same storm that broke you also built you, that you are not fragile, you are forged. And every time you look at that scar, you'll remember, you didn't just endure pain, you transformed it. Key takeaways. 1. Pain is a teacher, not a tormentor. When you stop running from it, you begin to receive its lessons. 2. Healing means integration, not erasure. You grow when your pain becomes part of your wisdom, not your prison. 3. Your scars are your credentials. They prove your strength and deepen your empathy. 4. Transformation requires burning. You must release who you were to become who you're meant to be. 5. Every wound hides a message. When you listen, pain turns into purpose. Reflection exercise. 1. Revisit a past wound. What experience still stings when you think of it? 2. Ask, what did this pain try to teach me? What strength did it awaken? 3. Write a letter to your past self. Thank them for surviving what you now understand. 4. Transform the narrative. Rewrite the story of that pain, not as your breaking point, but as your beginning. 5. Affirmation. My pain is not my punishment, it is my passage. I rise through what once broke me. Pain is not the end of your story. It's the raw material from which your destiny is sculpted. You will know you've grown when the same pain that once drowned you becomes the very ocean that carries you home. Chapter 10. The Rebirth of Purpose. Rising from the fragments of failure. Failure has a sound. It's the echo of a door closing, the silence after a dream collapses, the weight of your own breath when everything you worked for lies in pieces at your feet. But beneath that silence, if you listen closely, there's something else. A heartbeat. Faint, but steady. It's the sound of life after loss. The whisper of purpose being reborn. Because failure is never the end. It's a sacred invitation to remember who you truly are beneath the noise of success. The fall. There was a time when I thought success was linear, that if I worked hard, stayed focused, and believed enough, I'd rise and never fall again. But life, in its strange wisdom, doesn't work that way. It builds you up so you can see the view, and then it knocks you down so you can see what you're made of. My fall wasn't graceful. It was ugly, painful, humiliating. I had poured years into a project I believed would change my life. And when it failed, I felt like I had failed. That's the cruel trick of failure. It convinces you that you are what fell apart. But that's not true. You are not your losses. You are the one who rises from them. The death of identity. Failure doesn't just break your plans, it breaks your self-image. It strips away the masks, the achiever, the dreamer, the perfectionist, and leaves you naked before your own humanity. It asks questions you don't want to answer. Who am I without my success? Who am I when no one is clapping? Who am I when I'm no longer winning? It's terrifying, yes, but it's also liberating. Because when the illusion dies, the truth is finally free to live. The sacred pause. There's a moment after every collapse when time seems to stop. You sit in the ruins, not yet healed, not yet hopeful, just there. That's the sacred pause. The in-between. The space where endings and beginnings quietly shake hands. Most people rush through it. They try to rebuild too fast, chasing distraction, validation, noise. But rebirth doesn't happen in motion. It happens in stillness. When you finally stop running from what fell apart, you begin to hear what your soul has been trying to say all along. You were never meant to build that version of success. I have something deeper in mind. The cracked vessel. Imagine a clay pot shattered into fragments. The instinct is to throw it away, to see it as ruined. But the truth is, the cracks are where the light enters. In those fragments lies a new shape, a new design, a new purpose. The breaking wasn't destruction, it was redesign. That's what failure does. It doesn't destroy your purpose, it refines it. It cracks open what was too small for the magnitude of who you're becoming. The lesson hidden in the loss. Failure is never random. It's precise, a scalpel, not a sword. It cuts away what's false so the real can emerge. When you look closely, you'll see that every failure carries wisdom. The relationship that ended taught you self-worth. The job you lost redirected you toward passion. The dream that collapsed revealed a deeper calling. Purpose doesn't disappear in failure. It hides beneath it, waiting for you to dig again. This time with truth instead of ego. The myth of the big break. We love stories of overnight success. But behind every breakthrough is 1,000 silent breakdowns. No one talks about the moments in the dark, when faith flickers, hope hides, and you wonder if it's even worth continuing. But that's where purpose is forged. Not in the applause, but in the ashes. Not in triumph, but in tenacity. Not in perfection, but in perseverance. The ones who rise are not those who never fall, but those who learn to build again from the rubble, with steadier hands and wiser hearts. The rebirth. Rebirth doesn't happen in a moment. It's a process, messy, slow, and profoundly human. One morning, you wake up and realize the pain feels a little lighter. One day, you take a small risk again. You speak up, you create, you trust, and without even noticing, you start rebuilding, not what was lost, but what was meant. The ashes begin to take shape, and this time, it's not for applause or approval. It's for alignment. It's for truth. You no longer chase purpose, you embody it. Because now you understand, purpose is not something you find. It's something you remember. The call within the collapse. Every collapse holds a calling. It's as if life itself is whispering. The chapter you were living has ended. Don't cling to its ashes. Turn the page. When you surrender to that call, when you stop resisting what's gone, you make space for what's next. Failure is not life's rejection of you. It's life's redirection for you. The phoenix and the builder. Rebirth has two faces, the phoenix and the builder. The phoenix teaches you to rise, to burn what no longer serves you, and let your spirit soar again. The builder teaches you to create, to use what's left, what's broken, what's real, and build something stronger than before. And when both come together, something miraculous happens. You no longer fear failure. You welcome it as a messenger. Because now you know, every ending contains the blueprint of your next beginning. The return of purpose. When you rise from failure, something inside you shifts forever. You no longer chase success for validation. You no longer fear loss as destruction. You begin to see purpose not as a goal to achieve, but as a way of being, in alignment with your truth, your gifts, your contribution. And from that alignment, everything flows. The relationships that belong to you arrive effortlessly. The work that fulfills you begins to unfold. The peace that once seemed distant becomes your home. You realize you never truly lost yourself. You were just being remade. The light after the fire. There's a beauty in the aftermath, when the smoke clears and the first light returns. It's gentler, humbler, wiser. You no longer crave the same things. You no longer measure life by trophies or titles. You begin to measure it by peace, presence, and authenticity, because you've learned what truly matters. To live in alignment, not appearance. To build with love, not fear. To rise, not to prove, but to serve. That's the true rebirth of purpose, when success is no longer about what you get, but who you become. Key takeaways. 1. Failure is not destruction, it's refinement. It removes illusions and exposes truth. 2. Rebirth begins in stillness. Don't rush the pause. Transformation grows in the quiet. 3. Every collapse hides a calling. Failure redirects you toward alignment, not away from it. 4. Purpose is remembered, not discovered. It's revealed when you strip away who you're not. 5. The ashes are not your end. They're your beginning in disguise. Reflection exercise. 1. Revisit a moment of failure. What did it take from you? And what did it reveal about you? 2. List 3 lessons that came from that experience. What wisdom was hidden in the wreckage? 3. Ask yourself, what part of me was born in that breaking? 4. Write a rebirth statement. From the fragments of what I lost, I am building. 5. Affirmation. I do not fear failure. I rise from it. Every fall reshapes me into someone wiser, stronger, truer. The ashes of your old life are not a grave, they're the soil. And from that soil, something divine is already sprouting. A new purpose, a deeper truth, a version of you that no storm can shake. Because now you know, failure was never your ending. It was your becoming. Chapter 11. Becoming the warrior, living beyond fear, doubt, and comparison. There comes a moment in every life when you must stop running. When you can no longer hide behind excuses, masks, or waiting for the right time. When the pain of staying small finally outweighs the fear of stepping forward. That's the moment the warrior within wakes up. Not the kind who fights the world, but the kind who stands tall within it. The kind who learns that the greatest battles are not fought on battlefields, but in the silent corridors of the mind. Becoming a warrior isn't about learning how to fight. It's about learning how to stand. The awakening. The warrior doesn't wake in comfort. He wakes in the ashes, where the old self has burned away. He rises not because he's fearless, but because he's tired of being ruled by fear. You know that moment, the quiet breaking point, when you look in the mirror and say, no more. No more shrinking to fit someone else's story. No more doubting your own worth. No more measuring your soul against someone else's highlight reel. That's where the rebirth begins. You don't become a warrior by conquering others. You become one by conquering yourself. The return to the arena. There's an old saying, the arena is where you find out who you really are. Most people stay in the stands. They watch, they judge, they criticize, but they never step in. Because stepping in means you'll get hit. It means you'll bleed. It means you'll fail, publicly, painfully, and repeatedly. But the warrior knows that scars are not signs of weakness. They are proof that you showed up. The arena is not a place of perfection. It's a place of courage. And every time you enter it, you reclaim a piece of yourself that fear once stole. The three fallen giants. Fear, doubt, comparison. They were once your enemies, but the warrior learns to see them differently. He doesn't run from them anymore. He faces them, learns their language, and transforms them into allies of growth. Fear becomes focus. It sharpens him. It reminds him what matters. Doubt becomes discipline. It pushes him to prepare, to refine, to evolve. Comparison becomes compassion. It teaches him to honor his own path and celebrate others without envy. The warrior doesn't eliminate his shadows, he integrates them. Because true power isn't in denial, it's in mastery. The inner code. Every warrior lives by a code, not of rules, but of truth. Here's what it sounds like in the heart. I will not be defined by my past, but refined by it. I will no longer chase approval. I will pursue alignment. I will face my fears until they bow before my faith. I will rise not to prove my worth, but to express it. This is not arrogance, it's awareness. A quiet knowing that your worth was never up for negotiation. The training ground. Courage is not born in moments of triumph. It's built in moments of doubt. The warrior trains daily, not with weapons, but with mindset. He practices presence. He disciplines his emotions. He studies his pain until it becomes his teacher. Every disappointment becomes conditioning. Every failure becomes armor. Every act of self-honesty becomes a weapon sharper than fear itself. You train every time you choose to show up, even when you're scared, uncertain, or unready. Because readiness is not the absence of fear, it's the decision to act despite it. The silent battle. The hardest battles are the ones no one sees. The mornings when you wake up heavy and still choose to move. The days when your faith feels thin, but you still whisper, I'll try again. That's where the real strength lives, not in loud victories, but in quiet perseverance. You don't have to roar to be powerful. Sometimes power is in the whisper. I'm still here. The warrior's wounds. Every warrior bleeds. But instead of hiding the wounds, he learns from them. He no longer asks, why me? He asks, what is this trying to teach me? Pain becomes a compass. Each scar points to something sacred, resilience, compassion, humility. The wounds remind him he's alive, that he's dared, risked, loved, failed, and kept going. The warrior doesn't fear pain because he's learned this truth. Pain is temporary. Growth is permanent. The art of stillness. Strength without stillness becomes aggression. Stillness without strength becomes passivity. The warrior masters both. He moves with intention and rests without guilt. He listens to the silence between his thoughts. Because he knows, in that silence, intuition speaks. Stillness is where strategy is born. It's where fear dissolves into clarity and chaos folds into purpose. You cannot fight the battles of your life if you're always in noise. Stillness is your sanctuary, the sword of truth. Every warrior must forge his own sword, and that sword is truth. Truth cuts through fear. Truth silences doubt. Truth disarms comparison. But forging truth isn't easy. It demands brutal honesty, the kind that exposes your ego and your excuses. The warrior faces that truth every day and says, "This is who I am, and this is who I'm becoming." No pretense, no pretending, just raw authenticity. Because only truth can carry you through the fire without burning. The legacy of the warrior. The warrior doesn't fight for victory alone. He fights for legacy. Legacy isn't about fame or followers. It's about impact. It's about how your courage gives others permission to find their own. When you rise, you don't rise alone. Your example becomes someone else's hope. Your scars become someone else's map. And when your journey is over, you'll look back and realize you weren't fighting the world, you were fighting for your soul. And you won. The quiet after the battle. When the battle ends, the warrior doesn't boast. He sits quietly beneath the stars, breathing, reflecting. He knows tomorrow will bring new challenges. But tonight, he rests in gratitude. Because he's no longer chasing strength. He is strength. Not because he never fell, but because he kept rising. And that's the secret. The warrior never truly wins the war. He simply becomes one with it. Key takeaways. 1. Becoming a warrior starts with self-honesty. You can't fight what you refuse to face. 2. Fear, doubt, and comparison are not your enemies. They are your teachers. Learn their lessons and use them as fuel. 3. Your battles are sacred. Every struggle is a training ground for purpose. 4. True strength is silent. Power is not in noise, but in unwavering presence. 5. The warrior's path is not about victory, it's about becoming. Reflection exercise. 1. Identify your inner battles. What fears, doubts, or comparisons still hold you back? 2. Name your code. Write 3 personal principles you'll live by as your warrior's code. 3. Reframe your fear. Turn one fear into a mission. Instead of "I'm afraid of this," say, "I will master this." 4. Create a ritual of stillness. Spend 10 minutes daily in silence. No phone, no noise. Just breathe and listen. 5. Affirmation. I am the warrior of my own becoming. I face fear with faith, doubt with discipline, and comparison with compassion. One day, when you've walked through enough storms and stood tall in enough battles, you'll understand. The warrior's strength was never in his sword. It was always in his heart, steady, scarred, and unbreakable. Because the true victory isn't in conquering the world. It's in conquering yourself. Chapter 12. The Victory Within. When the war turns into wisdom. There comes a silence after every storm. A stillness that isn't empty, but full. It's the quiet breath after years of running, fighting, and striving. It's the moment when you no longer seek to conquer anything. Because you finally understand that what you were fighting for was never outside of you. Victory, you realize, was never a crown to wear. It was a state of being. And for the first time, you feel it. That deep, unshakable peace that doesn't come from winning, but from understanding. From knowing that every wound, every fall, every dark night was preparing you for this. The wisdom that lives beyond the war. The aftermath of becoming. There's a moment after every great transformation when life becomes unbearably quiet. No more dragons to slay. No more demons to outrun. Just you and the echo of who you used to be. It feels strange at first. You've lived so long in battle mode that peace almost feels foreign. You catch yourself waiting for another fight, another struggle, another storm. But then it dawns on you. The war isn't coming back because the battlefield no longer exists inside you. You've learned to turn your wounds into wisdom, your fear into faith, your pain into purpose. That is the moment of awakening, when the fire that once burned you now lights your way. The mirror of mastery. You stand before the mirror again. But this time, it's different. You don't see a survivor. You see a creator. The eyes that once carried exhaustion now hold depth, the kind of quiet strength that can't be faked. You've stopped asking, "Why did this happen to me?" and started saying, "It happened for me." You understand now that every fall shaped your character. Every delay deepened your patience. Every heartbreak expanded your compassion. And through it all, life wasn't punishing you, it was polishing you. The art of enough. The world teaches you to chase more. More success, more love, more validation. But the warrior turned sage learns a different art, the art of enough. Enough doesn't mean you stop growing. It means you stop grasping. You realize that the constant chase was never about goals. It was about filling the void of not feeling enough. And now that the void is gone, everything you do flows from abundance, not from lack. You build because you can, not because you must. You love because you choose to, not because you need to. You give because your cup finally overflows. That is freedom, the victory that no metal can measure. The legacy of light. When you live in wisdom, your life becomes a lantern for others still walking in darkness. You no longer teach by preaching. You teach by being. Your presence itself becomes a message. You can endure this. You can rise from this. You can become more than your pain. People begin to see in you the reflection of what's possible, because you've walked through your own shadows and come out luminous. And that's how wisdom spreads, quietly, like dawn light touching the earth after a long night. The eternal return. One day, you'll look back at the war you once thought would break you and smile, because you'll realize it didn't break you, it built you. It forged something eternal inside you, the knowing that nothing outside can define what's within. And as you walk forward, you no longer need to prove, to strive, or to fight. You simply are. The fire is still in you, but it no longer burns. It glows. It warms. It illuminates. You become both the warrior and the sage, strength with softness, power with peace. That's the ultimate victory. The victory within. Victory isn't when life stops testing you. It's when you stop being tested by life. When pain visits, but you no longer collapse. When failure comes, but you no longer doubt your worth. When success arrives, but you no longer lose yourself in it. You walk through life with quiet confidence. Not because it's easy, but because you've learned that nothing can take away what's already within you. The storms still come. The world still shakes. But your roots, your truth, remain unshaken. You're no longer at war with yourself. You have become the peace you were searching for. That is the victory within. That is the wisdom beyond the war. Key takeaways. 1. True victory is inner peace. It's not about winning battles, but about ending the war within. 2. Wisdom grows from wounds. Every hardship becomes sacred once you extract its lesson. 3. The summit is not the end, it's a mirror. The climb itself is the real transformation. 4. Surrender is strength. Flowing with life requires more courage than fighting it. 5. Legacy begins with light. When you embody your lessons, your life itself becomes a message. Reflection exercise. 1. Revisit your journey. Write down the 3 greatest battles you faced. What wisdom did each one teach you? 2. Define your peace. What does true victory look like for you? Not in the world's eyes, but in your soul's. 3. The letting go ritual. Identify one thing you've been forcing or controlling. Today, practice surrender, trust the timing. 4. Affirmation. My battles have become my teachers. My pain has become my purpose. My journey is my victory. And as the final page turns, know this. The story of your war was never about defeat or triumph. It was about becoming whole. Because you were never meant to emerge unscarred. You were meant to emerge awake. The fire that once consumed you now lives as a light inside you. Steady, sacred, and eternal. You are no longer the one fighting for victory. You are the victory itself. The shift from victory to wisdom. In the early stages of the journey, victory means achievement. The promotion, the praise, the peak. But as you evolve, victory transforms. It becomes less about the applause and more about the alignment. Less about proving your worth and more about living your truth. You realize that success without soul is just noise. But success that grows from purpose, that's music. And wisdom? Wisdom is when you can dance even when no one's clapping. The circle of the mountain. The warrior climbs the mountain, believing that peace awaits at the top. But when he reaches it, he finds something unexpected, another view of the valley below. And he smiles, because now he understands that life was never about reaching the summit. It was about who he became during the climb. Each fall strengthened his grip. Each scar refined his spirit. Each obstacle shaped his endurance. The mountain was never the challenge. The challenge was believing he had to conquer it to be worthy. The true victory is when you stop needing to prove your worth and simply live from it. The alchemy of surrender. Wisdom begins where resistance ends. The greatest warriors don't fight life, they flow with it. They surrender not because they're weak, but because they've learned that control is an illusion. Surrender is not giving up. It's giving over. To trust, to grace, to the unseen rhythm guiding your steps. You stop forcing outcomes and start following intuition. You stop chasing time and start aligning with timing. You stop striving for perfection and start living in presence. That is where victory turns into wisdom, in the space between effort and ease.